Australia beat New Zealand by 6 wickets in the first ODI of the Rose Bowl Trophy. Are Australia invincible? Is unbeatable their second name because it was the 22nd ODI win on the trot in this format. We'll talk about the first ODI between Australia and New Zealand on the outside view. What happened in the match? New Zealand were asked to bat first. They lost Hayley Jensen early to a beauty of a delivery. It was an in-swinger by Megan Shute. Hayley Jensen left a huge gap between bat and pad. The ball snuck through and disturbed the leg sticks. But then came together Amy Satterthwaite and Lauren Down. They kept the Australian bowlers at bay for some time, added 69 together before Satterthwaite was dismissed for 32. Then came Lauren Down and Amelia Kerr together. They added 90 for the third wicket and at 2 for 159. At 2 for 159 with about 13 overs to go, New Zealand were trying to post a total in excess of 250 to make things difficult for Australia, but that wasn't to be. A controversial stumping call against Amelia Kerr. It seemed that Kerr had her bat inside the crease, but the umpires ruled it otherwise. She ruled her out. At that point, New Zealand, remember, were 2 for 159. And from that point, they went on to lose their last 8 wickets with just 53 more runs. They were bowled out for 212. Unlucky Lauren Down missed out on her what would have been her maiden international turn. It, remember, was her maiden international half century, was dismissed for 90. New Zealand were bowled out for 212. And once that score was below 220, it was always Australia's game. Alyssa Healy, Ellis Perry, Ashley Gardner all scored 50s. Was an easy win in the end for Australia. Go one up in the 3 ODI series. They win by 6 wickets. Let's talk about the performers of the game. Yes, 50s for Alyssa Healy, Ashley Gardner, Ellis Perry. There was also Megan Shute, who was the player of the match with 4 for 32, her 5th 4-wicket haul in ODI. But for me, Nicola Carey was that standout performer. 3 for 34, not extravagant figures, but remember the effect she had. She played a crucial part in that middle phase when Australia didn't pick up a wicket, couldn't separate Amelia Kerr as well as Lauren Down. She exerted control. She got rid of Down as well. So 3 wickets for her, 3 for 34. She's my performer of the first ODI. Let's talk tactics. Yes, Australia have won 22 ODIs on the bounce. Meg Lanning has led them on most occasions, but the way she persisted with Nicola Carey, Ashley Gardner, and Jess Jonathan in that middle phase, despite having lots of overs of Taylor Fleming, Ellis Perry, that really paid dividends for the tourists because Perry, remembered, bowled only 3 overs. She gave away 15 runs in those 3 overs. There was Taylor Fleming, who was brought back for a second spell, wasn't an economical one, gave away 21 odd in those 2 overs in that second spell. So Lanning resisted temptation to go to her main bowlers, persisted with Carey, then brought back Shute. So those were really masterclass. It was a masterclass to see Lanning lead the side and actually finished with a 22nd successive ODI win. Right, let's look ahead to the second ODI. New Zealand have a lot of problems because their bowling attack is something they'll have to look at. Not necessarily change in personnel because remember, Leah Tahu was back after an injury. She had a hamstring injury which kept her out of the England series. So she was back, but she didn't look at her best. Her first spell went for 3 overs for 20 odd, and then eventually she finished with an economy rate or in excess of 6 and over. She wasn't tidy on the field as well, a couple of missed fields, and then that dropped catch of Alyssa Healy, which helped her score that 50. So all these factors suggest that Leah Tahu is a bit rusty, but of course she'll be persisted with. She can come good, expect her to come good because she's an experienced campaigner. But New Zealand, the only time they looked to be in control of the game, especially with the ball, was the initial phase where Rosemary Mayer, Hannah Rowe, and Jess Kerr were in operation. So expect the same side to be there, but that is an aspect they need to work on. They also need to look at Amelia Kerr's bowling because she's really been figured out by the Australians. Wonder what tricks she'll come up with up her sleeves in the second ODI. Coming to the Australians, they almost had a near perfect game. Their bowlers all came good. Jess Jonathan, Georgia Wareham. She was targeted but kept her cool. So a near perfect game for Australia. Will they make it 23rd on Wednesday? We'll find just that out after the second ODI. See you then.